Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're a fucking asshole. This is Wrestling Cheers, where we like to talk about things going on in Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review for AIW's Go for Broke, Episode 9. I'm your host, Justin Summers, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Trending Topics Network and Midwest Territory. Please rate, review, and subscribe your listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said, this is a review for AIW's Go for Broke Episode 9. And much like all the other Go for Broke episodes, it's the same panel. So we got myself, we have Charly Butters.
Hello.
And we have Jay Gold.
Hey-o, how are you?
So we're 9 episodes deep now. The next episode will be double digits. Any thoughts on this tournament so far heading into this episode? Start with Jay Gold.
This episode, as all the other episodes, very different from the week before. This one was kind of careening towards a wondering where this tournament is going to start, looking for the green light for the tournament. So you have guys scrambling and really trying to make an effort to get as much as they can. I'm sure we'll address that as we go. But this was a very hectic sort of episode, totally different than last week with really good wrestling. This one is more of a hold on tight and see where it takes you.
How about you, Butters?
Definitely a lot of intrigue, lots of moving pieces still, and don't know where it's going to go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the rankings, and just it keeps getting more dense at the top with those rankings, and it's very interesting.
Obviously, we'll get to it as the episode goes on, but where we wind up at the end when it comes to first place is very, very interesting, and we'll see what happens next week, because there's no way in hell this is going to continue on with the tie that we have at first place. We went from the Duke being that sole first place to now he's got some company. They're not all in the rearview mirror anymore. But we'll get to that as the episode goes on. Butters, how'd this episode start?
We had our nice recap, which I may not have picked up on this before, and everybody else might have, but just listening to the music in the recap this week, there was a ticking clock that I noticed this time, which probably has been there the whole time, but it just really kind of set the mood for me. Like, okay, the clock's ticking. Like, we got to keep going here. What's going to happen? So we got that. We went into the leaderboard, which is very interesting. Like you said, we had, Duke still at the top. So we had a bunch of people with 3,000 Biggins bucks. That being Trey Lamar, Wes Barkley, Pretty Boy Smooth, and Ethan Wright. Derek Dillinger, Philly Collins, Dominic Guarini, Kaplan, Eric Taylor. A lot of guys still got some chances here. I mean, they got to pick up some wins quickly. They want to keep themselves relevant in the top of the contention because we don't know when it's going to end, but I don't feel like it's going to be a year from now. I think they got to figure it out and make sure they got what they got as soon as possible, just in case.
I didn't notice, or I haven't noticed the ticking. Maybe just because how I'm watching it, I don't have headphones on and whatnot. But I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, there was like a couple different clocks there, and I'm just like, I wonder if those have always been there. I didn't get a chance to go back and listen to other ones yet, but I have a feeling they probably have been because it's been a whole point of this like thing is like you never know when the clock's going to strike, and they're going to start the tournament. So it's like, maybe it was always there, but I thought it was really interesting that I noticed it this week specifically. Yeah,
and they did highlight the cup this week in that opening opening flashback, whatever they call it. You did get a chance to see the cup shimmering there as they went into the last week review. So they're really starting to highlight what's at stake here with those videos.
I think we've seen the trophy. I think it might have been at least last week's, maybe even the week before, but it's never been something that's been on kind of display. It's like shown like briefly kind of in that opening segment stuff.
Yeah, it's in the background, but tonight for some reason it looked like it was really highlighted there when that video started.
Yeah, it catches your attention. Like I think we're like kind of focusing more on stuff to see, like, looking for little things here and there, and certain things catch your attention, and it's like it's probably always been there or been around and other things, but we just didn't notice it until now because we know things are starting to get more heated. So
one thing I find a little weird, for as good of a competitor the Duke is, he should have been like running away with this competition because I feel like we haven't seen him in competition prior to this week in a while. Like I'm looking at Cage Match right now, and I don't think he had a single match in May.
Yeah, he kind of schemed a bit for a few episodes where he wasn't actually in the ring, but he did so well in the beginning of the season that he's been able to bank a lot of money.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily have to put himself through a bunch to get a bunch of money because he was at the top, so nobody else was even really sniffing his heels, so he can just take a break. And it's kind of like the rabbit in the hare, or the tortoise in the hare.
The rabbit in the hare.
He got that whole
hair. Yeah, it's fucking late. Leave me alone.
He got that whole amount when he beat Brian Carson. I mean, he was in it for a lot of that. I mean, he really built up his reserves, so he didn't have to put himself out as the episodes went on.
Yeah, and that episode was the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'd figure if I were the Duke, I would have been in more matches. So like by now, I'd have like 5,000. So we'll see how next week and then any week after that plays out for him. But what was after that, Butters?
So then we got a PB Smooth versus Kaplan vignette, which is a new type of vignette we got this week, something a little bit different with both guys talking, setting up that this was going to be the main event tonight.
Yeah, both guys talking all sorts of shit, strong words from both sides. Kaplan a little bit less. What's the term? He's a little bit less polished with his verbal tirades, but you could just tell the intensity on both of these guys. They were really aiming to set up that main event. That's the kind of hype. I know, Butters, you mentioned you love those vignettes to like lead up to something, and that's all the kind of hype you need.
Yep, that does the job right there.
Yeah, I like the new kind of vignette we got with like, all right, we're not just profiling one wrestler, we're doing it for the actual match, and it's not the next match, it's the main event. So kind of set the tone for the episode of we knew where we were going to end, and I was really excited to see that match, but we'll get to that shortly. But after that, we did get into a match. we got Ethan Wright versus Mourinho to Naglia. So we saw last week Ethan Wright kind of talking a little bit of shit to PME, and well, not really going to have a tag team match here, not going to have a handicap match, but we're going to have Ethan Wright against one half of PME, Mourinho to Naglia. Thoughts on this match, Jay Gold?
I mean, we wanted to see Ethan Wright using this Academy Killer gimmick, and we were getting excited as he moves up the ladder. And much to our enjoyment, he moved up the ladder this week to wrestle one of the tag champs, who just happens to be a graduate of the Academy. And I got it, Ethan Wright, body type. He has very short arms, but body type wise, he looks like a great wrestler. He pulls off some great moves. And Mourinho is all gas, no brakes out there. And this was a great match. And I was very much into the will Ethan Wright win this match because he is the Academy Killer? Where will they go? That kind of thing. I think it's time for a little bit of soul searching for Mourinho. He kind of under-delivered in this show so far. But a good match, way to get the point across and way to get Ethan Wright across. I still need Ethan Wright to give me some more personality. Sometimes in the ring and sometimes out of the ring, it's like watching paint dry. I need more fire from him. There's something missing. I love the gimmick, but there's something still missing. I don't know if you guys notice it, but it's still there. So, good match. Way to get over the gimmick that he has. I was sad for Mourinho because Mourinho is the tag champ, but there's still something that's not quite sitting right with me with Ethan Wright.
How about you, Butters?
I don't know, man. I'm all in on Ethan right now. This was the turning point match for me, and I think I'm all in on him. I like the gimmick. I know his moveset now, so like I know when certain things are coming. He has a really good fisherman suplex. He hit that really nice superplex like off the top rope, which was real good. I think he's got all the tools. I can understand where you're coming from, but there's still something missing there. Maybe it's a bit of charisma. I don't know. That's not for me to really say. I feel like he's there for me. I dig it. I'm ready for this. I think he's really been in this last like half of these tapings. He's been really there. Like I really dig him. Like they did a good job building him up, and I'm interested in his storyline with being the Academy Killer, all that kind of stuff. I'm in on Ethan right now. They did their job. They got me to like him. So
maybe if he had more of like a hunter's mentality, like when they talk to him about how maybe if he kind of can get it out that he's literally hunting down all the Academy graduates to beat them. Maybe I could get 100% right now. I'm about 80% in. There's just something that's not connecting with me about Ethan Wright. I just can't put my finger on it. But good for what it was tonight. I mean, it really also highlighted that Mourinho's in trouble here in this tournament. So, I think PME in general is in trouble, but, the Ethan Wright gimmick is almost there. It's just, there's something just not clicking with me yet.
What do you think, Summers?
I think this is my podcast.
Well, I want to know your opinion, man. I'm interested in this. What do you got?
I think what's missing with him is what you hit on the head, Butters. I think it's charisma. Like that's what I think the biggest thing he really lacks. But I think a lot of things could make up for that. Like something I have wanted from early on, something we've seen teased, something we've seen at a live show, and something we're going to see later on here in this episode. So we'll see as everything progresses in the next, month or two, if we see more of that particular thing. But I think there's a lot more we need to see with him, especially because he seems to lack charisma. But I think that there's still a lot of skill there. I think one thing that gets me with him, and that's why I lean towards charisma, I think during the last episode when I was listening to him talk, I was like, I don't like his cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the way he talks just bugged me. And I'm not exactly sure why. And I don't think it's like, oh, he's supposed to do that. Like, I don't know. There was something about how he talks that comes off as off to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we're on the same page as far as he goes. There's just something in his voice. There's something in just the presentation that's just not clicking with me yet.
But I do think he has the look and the in-ring skill is kind of just that little bit of charisma or whatever it is to snap everything together, or just to make him, because I don't even want to say snap together, but at least make him go to the next level. Because he's a guy that I've seen outside of AIW, and I didn't feel as captivated of watching him as I did Ziggy before she was in AIW, Jocelyn before she was in AIW, Brickster before he was in AIW. So maybe
he's in a good spot to learn whatever it is he needs, though. I feel like AIW will give him those tools. He'll figure it out. I think with us seeing more live shows, I think we might, see a more updated version of him. Obviously, these were taped a while back, so like we're going to get part of this story, but I think seeing him, maybe he's leaps and bounds live. Like I feel like he had a bit of a better presence live at the last two live shows. So maybe there's something there with that. Maybe they are working on that with him. We'll see that down the road next time we see him live.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see some more with him, especially the one particular thing that I hinted at. Any other thoughts on this match?
I'm just more. I like the other side of it too. The other side of the coin is what's Mourinho going to do now. He's down and out right now. I mean, if it stopped tomorrow, he doesn't get in the tournament. So, where does PME, where does Mourinho go? How does he fix that? Coming from a team that's so successful to a singles run that's not. So that's going to be something interesting to keep an eye on.
Anything else from you, Butters?
No, that is interesting. Like, yeah, he's not successful in singles, but like he's still tag champ. I mean, there's not really. I think he's a player here, but I don't think he's an integral part of everything. As much as like maybe we were led to maybe believe. I think he was just he's there. He's tag champ, so there's some credibility to him in the matches, but it's also going to give credibility to the guys that need a little bit from him when they beat him. So
the question is now, will we see Ethan Wright get a tag team partner?
It'll be the Duke.
That would be interesting. All right. It was Ethan Wright beating Mourinho to Naglia, and this is going to be a little fun this week because we do have times from @RefJayhawk. But we also have times from Cage Match. Like, the show was only over about an hour and a half ago, and we got times, and there are some discrepancies between the two. So according to, we'll start off with Jayhawk. He had the match at 8 minutes and 42 seconds, and Cage Match has it at 8 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, granted, it's going to be a couple second difference between the two. It's not like, he has it at 8 minutes, and Cage Match has it at 9.5 minutes. Like, obviously it's going to be minor, but it's kind of curious or kind of interesting to see the difference of time between these two. And there's actually at least one, maybe two matches that are actually the same. So I find that interesting. All right, Butters, what was next?
We got Ethan Wright coming through the curtain, cuts a bit of a promo, uses a water bottle to get a drink, which was interesting.
I'm pretty sure that was a water bottle from the Bitcoin Boys, because I've seen that water bottle before. Sprayed at me.
Hopefully there was no glitter or anything in it, because that'd probably be pretty gross after, or like conditioner or something. Okay,
for those who don't know, when the Bitcoin Boys came out pre-pandemic, they always sprayed these water bottles at us, and I swear to you, there was definitely something more than water in there. Because I know what water looks like, and I know what the look of everything in that bottle, and I think there was like a fragrance to it too. So when I saw him drink that, I'm like, I hope that's just water, not everything else the Bitcoin Boys have put in there. All right, continue.
Well, you want to talk about that backstage vignette? What was Mikey wearing in that vignette?
We'll get there, Butters.
So yeah, after he kind of talks about that, we pan over and Mikey's clapping very, very hard, and Duke is just kind of doing a slow clap. There's a little bit of tension there, a little bit of interest from the Duke because now with that win, Ethan is the new leader on the board, so kind of interesting.
And then of course, like we know Mikey and the Duke they have a match tonight, so that's gonna play into everything. We've seen a lot with Ethan Wright and the Duke. That's kind of what I was hinting at. Like everything with those two. Are we gonna see more or what? So that whole thing in general is very interesting.
Yeah, Mikey's a student, but he's Duke's student, so it's okay, according to Duke. And then yes, let's talk about Jay Gold. Let's talk about what Mikey was wearing because once again he was looking like a serial killer.
Well, what the hell was that giant, oversized, giant Snuggie sweatshirt thingy he was wearing? That I don't know why you needed that before a wrestling match, but good, each his own. That's what Mikey does. He kind of, you can expect some of those things, but yeah, he looked like a TV infomercial in that thing.
Insert a comment about the Snuggie.
Snuggie. That's what it was. Snuggie. Yeah. That works.
I was going to say Mikey Mon Snuggery, but I'm like, that sounds dumb. I know I just said it, but I didn't say it as the joke. I'm like, yeah, this was going through my head, and there's a reason why I didn't say it. Because that was dumb. All right. What was next?
Oh, man. So then we got to get a nice little vignette about Mikey Montgomery. So we get to learn about him.
Yeah, Mikey's an awkward little fella, but he's growing on me so much that, anytime the Bitcoin boys, if this is what their goal was for AIW to get people, to really get invested, I'm all in on the Bitcoin boys. And for watching Mikey and his awkward movements and his funky glasses and his little pencil mustache and whatever else he's doing in there, I'm all in on both those guys. So yeah, it was that vignette was fun. It was out of character a little bit. You got to see kind of what the man is like, and good. It was definitely something that I think they could have put on in week 2 or 3, and I would have been sold on them there too. But it was a good video.
The part that cracked me up was Mikey doing his slow-mo bit in the fog machine, and he was coughing.
Yep.
I realized in this episode, Mikey is funnier than I've realized, and I fucking love him for it. Shout out to Ed from Pod Van Dam for always being on the Mikey Montgomery bandwagon.
Yeah, he's been on since day one.
All right, and that led us into our next match. Next up, we had bulking season Arthur MacArthur and Chuck Stone versus Mikey Montgomery and the Duke. Thoughts on the match, Butters?
It's a really good tag match. They really played some interesting stuff with like Mikey trying to do double team moves and Duke not knowing what Mikey was going for because they haven't tagged before. So that was kind of fun, which at the same time, I'm like, well, he has watched them tag before, so he should know some stuff, right? I really like bulking season. This match was, like I said, a lot of fun. I really want to see them go up against Bitcoin again and like give them like some type of like 2 out of 3 falls. I think that could be a lot of fun. Chuck Stone hit a tilt-a-whirl, or not tilt-a-whirl slam, but a side slam, like black hole slam almost.
Yep.
Ridiculous on Mikey. Oh my God, it was gross.
How many times is Chuck Stone going to kill Mikey?
He has killed him several times, yes.
And Mikey keeps getting up, so I mean, not doing that good of a job of it.
Yeah, old Charles Hamburger just puts every time he gets a chance, he puts the big old bombs to Mikey. The headbutt, the pop-up headbutt, the spinning black hole slam, that power bomb backbreaker he did back in April. I mean, Mikey can. I love Mikey's like 90s styrofoam cup tights. Those are awesome. But yeah, he really does just beat the living crap out of Mikey when he gets a chance. And Mikey and the Duke worked perfectly together. It's exactly what I asked of them last week when we were talking about. I wanted to see like little dog, big dog type of thing, and Duke did some of the big power moves, and Mikey did the flippy boy stuff, and yeah, that was good stuff. And I think Arthur Macarthur got hit in the jumblies at one point at the end there, and knocked him back a couple of generations. So we had a little bit of everything in that match. There was a little chicanery. You had Eric Taylor with the run-in. That's what I meant by like chaotic and hectic night tonight. That match was all sorts of chaotic and hectic.
One little thing that I noticed when I put on my personal Twitter, and nobody got it, or at least nobody's seen it. I had no idea Mikey Montgomery was a huge fan of Maine, because if you look on the back of his tights, it said @ME. That's the Twitter handle for Maine.
Yeah, man, that one went way over my head even when you posted on. I was like, what is he talking about? I was going to ask you about that.
The state of Maine?
The state of Maine, yes. That is because I've seen him in those tights before, and I get it, @me. So, okay. Something that told me, I'm like, okay, that's a really easy Twitter handle. Like 2 letters. Somebody has to have that. Who the fuck has @me? So I typed it in, and it's the state of Maine.
Yeah, that was lost. You lost me there in the wash on that one.
But I did put @me. Like, all you gotta do is like click on it, touch it, and it'll take you to the main Twitter. Of course, I was like, why the fuck does Maine have its own Twitter? And I'm granted, Ohio probably has one, New York, New Jersey, blah, blah, blah. But I follow people, not states or company. Like, I follow companies, and like, hey, what's going on in
the Forest Bureau? Yeah.
So, yeah.
But Duke got some money again, and so did Mikey. And Arthur is continuing to stay off the board, and I think old Chuck, too, are going to be, at the bottom. They got kind of swindled into that match. And you got a chance to see everybody was asking where Eric Taylor was, and ta-da, there he is, right at the end there to ensure the victory. So you got a little bit of everything at the end of this one.
Yes, it was Mikey pinning Arthur to win the match for him and the Duke.
Yeah, that Spike Duke driver was real cool too.
Yes, I was going to mention that. That was very cool. That was a good use of both men on that one, and Duke really put him down on that one. Looked good.
And with that, we got a top spot tie.
Which that would be the Duke and Ethan.
Yes, sir.
So that match, Jayhawk had it at 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Cage Match has it at 10 minutes and 1 second. What happened next, Butters?
Oh, man, we got that 2019 J-Lit weekend commercial.
Uncut, uncensored. I still love it. I love all the name drops of everybody on that show, too. And that was only 2 years ago. Oh, actually, I forgot to put that in my notes. Good call on that one.
Aha.
Going back and forth between...
Skip it this week. Damn, we could have skipped it.
Going back and forth between Twitter and my notes, like I just overlooked it. I was probably tweeting something. What was next after that?
Oh, man, we got a Josh Bishop vignette.
Which I love this. I love this vignette. Fucking Bishop just fucking... I don't give a fuck.
He's a big, scary, dominant beast of a champion. And that's exactly... Every time I see... and I've said this to you guys over and over again, AIW they just packaged their champion better than anybody else. Bishop is in place no matter where they go to whenever that man is in the room, when he's standing over somebody, when he's face to face with an opponent, whether he goes out and does signings, he's the largest, scariest man in the room. And that's how they promote him. And that's how he looks. And the vignette is no different. They don't forget that he's the double champ. Nobody beats him. He's a monster, and he's going to talk like a monster. He doesn't care who he's going to face. I love it. Every time he's on the screen, I love it. I love his presentation. It is, they can joke that he's baby Sid, but that's exactly what Sid should have been like when Sid was in his prime. Instead, he was just this goof who couldn't cut a promo and made himself look like an idiot on several occasions. Bishop is never that, will never be that. It is the perfect way to present your champion.
What were your thoughts on it, Butters?
I mean, that's it, man. He's the man. So I'm super excited that, they kind of threw this together for us to let us know we get a title defense next week. And he said, anybody, he wants some competition. He wants somebody. So we're getting a title match next week, and it's going to be somebody with some competition. And I can't wait to see that. Anytime we get to see Bishop wrestle, it's a pleasure. He's fucking awesome.
I don't know. Ethan Wright being the Academy killer. Gotta go for the big dog. I mean, that's what I want to see.
I think that puppy needs to stay on the porch because Bishop ain't fucking letting him walk in that yard. Trust me.
Oh, I want to see that match so bad.
Maybe we'll see that in July. That'd be cool.
Oh, hell, maybe we'll see that here in June. Major announcement.
Awesome.
I'm starting to think that's going to be another fucking mystery show.
Yeah. I don't know. Or we might get, I don't know. Yeah. Never know. I was kind of hoping we'd get Bishop and Cardona because I kind of want to see that match. I want to see Bishop have some fun with Cardona. I think that could be interesting. Maybe break his other eye socket. I don't know.
I don't want to see that. We got to leave something for Nick Gage to kill. So we want to keep Cardona like standing up and in good. Well, also too, like we got to make sure he's in good stands for Ohio the next day.
I mean, they could walk him in there and set him down, and he can just smile with bandages over his face because he can't see. It'll be all right.
We've already seen
Bishop there in his place, and that's the better photo op anyway. The champ with both belts. So
we've already seen Cardona in a cast and wheelchair. He got pushed off the stage by Kane. Gonna give him deja vu.
Race and everything. Yep.
Bishop's gonna send him off the balcony in a wheelchair.
I know we got to save something for Gage. Like that's don't.
6 months we'll get the Gage match. We got to get Gage and Mox first. Once we get that out of the way, then it's time to tear up Cardona.
Don't deprive me of this match. I've been wanting it for like a year now. Don't you do it, Butters. Just because you can't see Ethan Page at AIW anymore because you're shitty ass luck. Don't put this on me.
The curse, man. I got to move the curse to somebody else. So I'm cool. I got my double champ, so I'm cool.
No, you're not. All right, that got us into our next match. Next up, TKD versus Trey Lamar. Is TKD even on the board?
I believe so. Yeah, he's got 1,000. He's got one.
Okay. Couldn't remember if
I feel like I haven't seen Trey Lamar in months. So I was like, oh shit, that's right. Trey Lamar is in this. And he's been in second place for a hot minute. So
yeah, this one wasn't my favorite out of a lot of these matches that have come out. I thought it was kind of TKD came off kind of sloppy. I feel like TKD, the way he looks, he should be wrestling in like a cardigan. He doesn't exude that like, the kicks and everything. There's just some sort of, there's a disconnect there when he throws his kicks. I think he should be throwing them with more nastiness on him. And I think the match was kind of sloppy. Trey is great and you can only save as much as you can, but, this match didn't do it for me at all tonight. Trey is going to move up and do what he's going to do, against higher level talent. I think Trey does his thing, but I don't know, just tonight, this match kind of disappointed me.
TKD needs to grow a mullet and learn about Jerry Flynn. Jerry Flynn could teach him lots of things.
That's right. And I think if he could channel his inner Jerry Flynn or his inner Glacier or something, just throw those kicks with some intention. Like make if your gimmick is you're going to do martial arts, let me see you get in there and really lay it in. I feel like there was a little too much. There's a little too much hesitancy in what he does, and the match kind of showed it. So. That's all I got for this one. It just didn't fit with the hectic chaoticness of what this night was. So that's all.
So what you're saying is you want to see TKD become tag team partners with Philip Cardigan.
Oh, Philip Cardigan. Sure. I just need to see TKD, somebody light a fire up under his ass and let him go out there and kind of Shibata somebody or do something with those kicks, because I just didn't feel like I feel like he's way too hesitant. He's just kind of holding back. It's like, come on, man, get in there and throw something. Like get a big, you're gonna throw those big high kicks or that reverse where he's kind of ducks down and then throws his kick up over his head. Come on, man, lay that in there. Like, let me hear that pop. But it kind of takes away from his character. If you're gonna go out there in a gi with the sleeves cut off, let me see you beat the crap out of somebody. use those kick pads, you know? So that's where my disappointment came from there.
I feel like what you want to see is Bloodsport, and what we have is the Karate Kid.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes. I'd like to see some Bloodsport, and we have Foot Fist Way out there.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with the Karate Kid. Karate Kid and Bloodsport are definitely not the same type of fighting.
Yes, but if you're in a wrestling ring and you're fighting to get into this tournament, you better be doing some Bloodsport. You got to be scratching and clawing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I just feel like you have these like really weird expectations for it. Like I said, you want Bloodsport and it's Karate Kid. And I've watched the Karate Kid, and even I said like I like Bloodsport more, but it basically like it's definitely two different things.
Yeah, no, I dig it. I really wanted something more urgent. I want more urgency because you only have a finite amount of time. So I wanted more urgency as opposed to the tournament that with no urgency. I just need more. I need more. The light needs to turn green and everybody needs to go. Because you never know when you're going to be stopped.
Anything else from you, Butters?
No, good. This was pretty short. It was like 5 minutes or something. It's real quick. Trey is Trey, and I'm excited that he's in the tippy top there. That's good stuff.
Trey Lamar made TKD tap for the win, and according to Ref Jayhawk, that was 5 minutes and 15 seconds, and according to Cage Match, it was 5 minutes and 15 seconds. We have an agreement on time.
We've come to an agreement.
And we have a 3-way tie.
So that means also, like, as this night progressed, a winner from every match, and granted Mikey won, but he wasn't necessarily in this discussion, but you have the Duke, so Ethan Wright, the Duke, Trey Lamar, all, as of right now, 3-way tie.
Yeah.
What was next?
We got Derek Dillinger on Frankie Flynn, and then he made his intentions known that he doesn't want the absolute title. He doesn't want the tag titles. He wants that intense title because the people that trained him never won it, and that's the belt he wants.
All right, Jay Gold, time to shine.
Yep. My man, Derek, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that. The vignette was perfect. The story that they set up is perfect. We understood what Frankie was, what Derek was in the production. You can see how they both went off in different directions, so to speak. Derek direction. But Derek's promos are really, really, they're next level. I love when Derek just says he's just going to beat the shit out of Frankie. I like honest to the point of what Derek wants. And that's what I've been envisioning the entire time, is that he's going to win the Intense title. I don't know how you get there, but he's going to get there. The vignette was perfect. Tonight's all the vignettes that Steve Guy produced tonight were perfect. Let's give him, again, lots and lots of credit, because his vision there for these vignettes makes everything better. And this one is no different. It made, you just flesh out Derek's character even more. And bravo to Steve Guy on these, because these were super, super intense and super engaging for the audience tonight. So yeah, that's what I liked about that one too.
It's been great to watch Derek evolve through AIW. He talked about, he remembers being a fan. I remember him at the merch tables selling merch for other wrestlers, and then him getting, the shot in Absolution, and then forming the production. And so much great shit has come after that, with all the evolutions of the production and how he has changed within the group and his style and his presentation. There's so much to love there.
I mean, he's homegrown. He's as homegrown as you can get. He's a testament to what AIW school is. And I can, I would understand, as all the AIW faithful have watched him kind of grow, that you're going to root for somebody like that. And even though he's supposed to be, a heel, you can't help but want to root for him or Frankie. So, the evolution of Derek and his vignettes get better and better as they've gone on throughout the years.
And we could see this story between Frankie and Derek go on forever, because they're going to be tied from the moment that the production started, which brought in Derek, and, the lifespan of that group. And now I don't even want to say the breakup, because like Frankie hasn't really been a part of the production for before the pandemic. Like, I think we're talking beginning of 2019, and there's been a lot of twists and turns and all that. And, Frankie's still here to go up against Derek. Also, shout out to Colby Red for being in one of the pictures of the production, because I saw that. I was like, oh, there he is. It's the one that everybody forgets about. So that got us into the match. Frankie Flynn versus Derek Dillinger. Thoughts on the match, Jay Gold?
Match was good. It was short and to the point. Frankie, they kept putting over Frankie's head, the metal plate in his head and the wires going on the back of his head or whatever it was. That was kind of comical. But yeah, it was hard hitting. Both guys really were laying into each other. There was a segment, I think, where Frankie kind of did a cross body into a set of fists. You could just tell both guys. I think Derek's that move he does where I think it's what is it, like a German into the turnbuckles or almost like a buckle bomb.
Sunset flip.
Yeah, sunset flip into the bomb. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really hard hitting, really good. Thorne and Wadsworth really kept the story going. So yeah, it was a good match, good for what it needed to be, and kept my attention. And having Ziggy at ringside doesn't hurt either. So good stuff.
Yeah, Derek selling his hand when he hit Frankie in the head, and then Thorne and Wadsworth going on a rant about cyborgs and all that, and him having wires in his head, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I was laughing pretty hard. That was pretty funny. Yeah, and we got to see more of Derek on this. We got to see more of his moveset, more of his doing those triple elbows. A lot of fun stuff in this. It was good stuff. And I really wouldn't want to take that sunset flip bomb into the turnbuckle. That looks gross.
Yeah, that one looks like it hurts.
So it was Derek Dillinger pinning Frankie Flynn for the win. And according to Ref Jayhawk, that was 5 minutes and 39 seconds. And according to Cage Match, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Butters, what was next?
We got told to go check out DylanPostle.com. Got a website.
Go visit the website of our little friend. What was after that?
We saw a bag with a tag title, a PME jacket, and Biggins bucks in it. And somebody's hand came into the frame and took the money. A mystery is afoot.
It only took till week 9 to show us somebody stealing money. But there it is. There's the biggest plot twist out of the whole season so far. Somebody just jacking money right out of the bags of PME. Why PME would leave all that money just laying in the bag like that, whoever it was, whether it was Marino or Philly, who knows? But a sausagey hand reached in there and took out all that money, and who knows where that's going to be. We'll have to wait till next week to find out.
Or even if we don't find out next week, we find out, weeks later, maybe this same person steals from somebody else. Because this is something that I wanted to see from, we did the preview. Because that whole thing of everybody has to keep track of their own Biggins bucks. So I was like, okay, I want to see money get stolen. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who it would be from, but just let me see somebody stealing money. Or I even thought maybe it's something we don't see on camera, where we see all of a sudden, let's say Derek Dillinger has $2,000 extra and another wrestler, whoever it may be, they're missing $2,000. They don't necessarily come out and say it, but it's oh shit, I can't find my money. Right?
Yeah, they go to the banker to give in their sums so they can so they can go into the tournament, and they reach in their bag and they realize they don't have their money and they can't get into the tournament. That would be something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Between the two of them, there was 4,000 Biggins bucks there. So that would put somebody right at the top of the leaderboard. Whoever took it. I mean, if they came in and they didn't even have a match, they're right at the top of the leaderboard now, just with that one swipe.
But the question for that would be, did they steal from one or both?
Right. Don't know, but it's possible they could have snagged them all if they kept them in the same bag. I don't think they did. I think it was just one person, but it's very possible.
Ideally, if it was all the PME's money, do you know who I'd like to see be the one to steal it? Razor Sharp.
I actually thought it'd be really funny if it was one of To Infinity and Beyond. As much as they hate them, that would be kind of funny.
But Razor Sharp coming in and taking the money would be amazing.
Yes, that would be really great too. I'm not going to lie there.
Just Razor sitting there with his Atlanta Falcons wide receiver gloves, counting the money. Oh, I don't know what happened. I just found this on the floor.
Sitting there doing the Cabbage Patch.
Counting his money while he's doing the Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, and my notes for this, the only thing I wrote was thief.
Yeah, big exclamation points on that one.
All right, and then after that, we got into our main event. Pretty Boy Smooth versus Kaplan. This match was built up from last week. We had the vignette this week. Thoughts on it, J Gold?
I mean, it was a little short for my liking, but I like seeing. I just love the big men, the big hosses, just beating the crap out of each other. There was tons and tons of animosity. Kaplan wasn't backing down. He didn't want to hear it, and he just went in there and these guys slugged. I don't know if once we look at the cage match or the Jayhawk times, but it wasn't that long of a match. But these guys, I mean, the ring, they bounced a few times. These two guys, they're just big dudes smashing into each other. And yeah, that's exactly what we want out of a Kaplan match, right? Just a glorious mess every time.
Butters.
Yeah, these are just two big meaty men. That's all it was. Just smacking each other around.
Kaplan is no slouch competitor, but he was going up against PB Smooth, a former AIW Tag Team Champion and a former AIW Absolute Champion. So this is kind of what I expected out of him. It was PB Smooth pinning Kaplan for the win, and according to Jayhawk, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And according to Cage Match, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. So, another agreement in times.
Synergy. But that finish was that finish that PB put on Kaplan. Kaplan hitting the mat hard. He hit hard. Like that's what they call a no doubter. When PB put him down, you knew he wasn't going to pick his arm. He wasn't going to get out of that. So yeah, that was a pretty good exclamation point on the match for PB.
All right, Butters, how did the episode end?
To close the episode, PB made his way back through the curtain, and Rip City was there waiting on him. And he basically said, I know you guys set that up, and I don't know what the hell was going on. Rip City was doing some Rip City equations or some shit. I don't know. It was pretty interesting.
Was it supposed to be like the Scott Steiner math promo, kind of?
I don't know. Maybe, but it wasn't like they were really blatantly going for that. It was just, I don't know what they were trying to go for. But we do know that Wes Barkley thinks that he can beat PB, so maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see. And then, of course, we didn't really talk about it. That put PB in first place too, right?
Yep, 4-way tie, first place.
So for the first time since the beginning, such a large field, we have not even just a tie. We have a 4-way tie for first place. I'm curious to see where we're going to go next week, whether we see maybe some people put up their money or a 4-way between all these competitors, or I don't know, like it's got to be something.
What if Duke's hand was the one that stole that money? Then you have somebody up at first place and you're not going to find out till next week.
Yeah, it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't want it to be the Duke, only because that was my first thought, and I don't want to be right on my first thought on that. Like, I want it to be like, that's why I said Razor Sharp.
It should be too obvious. Yeah, that's too obvious that it could have been Duke. So,
could it have been Brian Carson sneaking around?
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking of. Like, he doesn't have much. Maybe he needed a little bit of money, so get himself back into the game there.
That's right. Vault you right back into contention when you take that.
But we know next week we get Josh Bishop defending the belt, so it's going to be good stuff.
All right. Final thoughts on the episode. Start with Butters.
Keep on chugging along, man. This is another good episode. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm excited. It didn't beat last week's, but it was still a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where we keep heading.
How about you, J Gold?
Yep. I love the chaos and the hecticness of this episode this week. I like the twist. with the I like the twist with the stealing money, and I liked the vignettes this week. Really well produced. Again, nice job, Steve Guy. Those were awesome. So the good, hectic, chaotic mess of an episode, and it was good stuff.
All right, last minute plugs before we go. Start with J Gold.
Nope, just J Gold on Twitter.
Butters.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Charly_Butters, and you can find my podcast, IWTV Guide, on Twitter and Instagram at IWTV Guide.
And of course, you can find myself at jsummers330 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, much like you can find this show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/Wrestling Cheers, Twitter.com/Wrestling Cheers, Instagram.com/Wrestling Cheers. Email, if you so choose a desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Like I said earlier in the show, please rate, review, and subscribe your ever listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com, and you can find all the links for all the social media and every place you can find the show in our link tree in this episode's show notes. You can also check out our friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, The Spanish Announce Table, and Wrestling with Altitude. Check out our other podcast friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, It's Evolution, Baby, The IndieCast, Sobros Network, Biff Radio, Off the Hop Rope, Game Marks Podcast, We Like Sports Podcast, Powerbomb Jitsu, The Spotlight Series, Fully Posable, Doing the Favor, Positively Pro Wrestling, IWTV Guide, At Odds with Wrestling, Best in the World Podcast, Marks with Mikes, Dark Match Podcast, and Porch Talk. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as The Store Jobber, The Savage Stash, The Mystery Men, Redline Radio, Mouse's Wrestling Adventures, VHS Party Tonight on Instagram, Happy Hour with Steve Guy, The Co-Host Wrestling Show, Good Company, Toy Hio, Time Capsule Toys, Stay Tough, Smokin' Jay's Barbecue, Wrestle Void, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially if you are in a four-way tie for first place. Later.
It's the Wrestling Cheers. Get up on your feet, brightening your day in the middle of the week. And you gotta love the show. Yeah, you know it holds a title for the best podcast talking wrestling in Ohio. Finishing a cold one, take a load off. We ain't all about the prohibition like Josh, so we cheers. And then we sit back. Other shows are in the trash, kinda like they Nick Stapp. Like the name is Matt Justice, wearing all the gold. Wrestling Cheers is coming to a close. The #1 podcast going in the game. And one day everybody's gonna know the name. It's the Wrestling Cheers. This is Platinum Max, signing off. Ohio, good night. The world, good night. We love you. We'll see you next week.